Welcome back to Life on Two Wheels. Here I am standing in front of the Mile 1 Center, and you can be forgiven if you don't know where the Mile 1 Center is, but a little bit later on I'll give you a clue. No motorcycles were used in this episode. So here's your clue. I'm in the city of jelly bean houses, and you can see those in the background. And as I walk along the street and I shift the phone, you can see more of those houses that I'm walking by. They're absolutely charming. The only other place that I'm aware of in the world where you can go and see brightly colored Victorian row houses in pastel jelly bean colors is San Francisco, and they don't have as many of them as St. John's does, which is quite fitting. St. John's, Newfoundland, home of the jelly bean home. Last time I was here in St. John, I became an honorary St. Johnsian because I was screeched in, and that involves kissing a dead cod on the lips and then wiping that off on your arm and shooting back a shot of Screech. Screech is kind of a local home-brewed rum. I guess that took because this time back in St. John's, I had more Screech deliberately, and the bartender looked at me, and clearly a local, and he says, "How much Coke would you like in that?" And I looked at him and I said, "No, I'll have my Screech straight up," which I did, although it was already over the rocks. In addition to that, I had fried cod and chips. I had French fries with gravy and dressing. I had a cod lip sandwich. Let's see now. I also had fried cod tongues. Last time I was here, I passed that. I would see it in the restaurant menus, and I thought, fried cod tongues. Fish have tongues. Cod has tongues. People cut them out and, save them and eat them. It turns out that fried cod tongues are actually good. I had bake apple desserts, and bake apple is not bake apple. It's in other places it's known as codberry, and so I'm like a real Newfoundlander kinda, and I have only one regret, that I'm here. Somebody told me, one of my colleagues told me that, like moments before I would have witnessed this, Rick Mercer in person was checking out of our hotel. We're at the Delta St. John's, and Rick was checking out. And I've given celebrities a wide berth, respected their privacy, but I think that if I'd been there in the lobby and Rick Mercer was there checking out, he is just my absolute favorite Canadian of all time. And I would have had both of my hands wrapped around his, and I would have been shaking like Donald Trump. I wouldn't have let go, and I would have just been all over that guy. So Rick Mercer's lucky that he missed me when he was checking out of St. John's. St. John's is home to some remarkable artists. As a matter of fact, I just came from a gallery where my wife and I are negotiating on a nice little 9x12 plein air painting, which I hope will succeed in purchasing. I'll know more by the end of the day, as we're tough negotiators. But there's other kinds of art. So if you think, New York and Toronto and big cities like that are the only places where you can find creative graffiti, think again, because St. John's has some really nice graffiti. But there's so much more that Newfoundland has to offer. They've got those great TV ads, and since the last time I was here in 2009, it's clear to me that tourism has really, really picked up, and there's a sense of prosperity here in St. John's that wasn't evident the last time I was here. We rented a car, we went up to Bonavista. Vista. This is something everybody should do, in my humble opinion. It's just spectacular. You have these little fishing villages up and down the peninsula, and some of the place names in Newfoundland are really something to behold. They're worth taking pictures of, not that I did. Although I've got one snapshot of a map that I'll put up, because you'd never believe me if I told you that in one of the bays there is Dildo, South Dildo, and Dildo Arm. So when the boys are out fishing out to sea, you know, the ladies apparently have other hobbies. We also, we were in Bonavista. We saw whales, sheep, horses, puffins. We saw all types of animals. Thankfully, we didn't see any moose, because when you see a moose and it's in your windshield, that might be one of the last things you see. So we didn't see that. Now I'm going to take you down for a walk to Harbour Street, and we'll see a little bit of St. John's Harbour. Come along. So here we are. Crossing the main street in St. John's is not as difficult as you might think, because the people here, even by Canadian standards, are extremely, extremely polite. So here we are down on Harbour Street, and this really is a very, very busy harbour. There's a phenomenal historical artifact, and that is right up, where's my finger? I have trouble doing this. Right up here is Signal Hill, and there's the Marconi Tower up there. And that was, believe it or not, one of the early hubs of telecommunications way back when wireless and Morse code were dominating the landscape. So down by the harbour here, you can see that it's a very, very active harbour, and there's a lot of ships come in here. The not only merchant ships, but there's also great big cruise ships that come in from time to time. It's just a wonderful, busy place, and across the harbour, you can't really see it, but on the far side of the harbour, back there somewhere, there's the Coast Guard station, and they're very, very well equipped because they do a lot of search and rescue. And Newfoundland, and St. John's in particular, is just a wonderful, wonderful place. Susan was here with me, and that's when we explored all the way up to Bonavista, and we saw, you know, place names like Come By Chance and Heart's Delight, I think, and just wonderful, wonderful places. And in addition to those places I mentioned earlier, I've seen a lot of motorcycle tourers up here, BMW R1200Rs, GSs, even cruisers equipped for touring. There's lots and lots of people touring on motorcycles here. And it's a trek to get here, but worth every minute when you get here. This is St. John's George Street. It's kind of like the party central, and in the bright light of morning, it doesn't look that way. But last night we were here, and we had our traditional rally in the alley, and that is one rowdy event, and it involves an inhuman quantity of beer and Screech, cod, and mayhem. And I hauled out my little camera last night. I didn't have my iPod with me, but I don't think I needed it. I think the camera mic probably picked up enough of the celebrations to give you a really good picture of what happens here after dark. Have a look.
To Costco we'll go. Oh, we'll rent and we're all like true Newfoundlanders. We'll rent and we're all on deck and below. But until we see bottom inside the two suckers and straight to the channel to toss for the bow. Little Roberts, they call me Bob Pittman. I sail there, I know where it's good for Tom Brown. But I'm bound to have Dolly or Betty or Bobby as soon as I'm able to find cash. All together now. Oh, we'll rent and we'll roar like true Newfoundlanders. We'll rent and we'll roar on deck and below.
Not everyone can be a Newfoundlander. This is as close as you're gonna get. I know you're excited, aren't you? I got to tell you, I'm delighted myself. Now, there are a couple of processes. At the end, there is a test. I tell you this only because some people panic. They think, oh God, I wonder will I pass? And you don't need to panic. You're in the motherland now. We don't want you to go through any unnecessary stress. I'm going to give you the answer. That's just the kind of gal I am. At the end, I'm going to ask the question, is you a Screecher, me sons? And you're going to answer, indeed I is, me old cock, and long may your big jib draw. Do you want to give it a go? So you should know. You got that? You're staggering it. Shall I break it down? Yes. At the end, I'm going to ask the question, is you a Screecher, me sons? And the answer is yes. That's what you're feeling in your hearts. We don't like to hear yes. We like to decorate it just for our own pleasure, if nothing else. Just to see you struggle. So at the end, when I say, is you a Screecher, my sons, you're going to say, indeed I is. We've just changed the verb there. It should be indeed I am. We've changed it to is. You'll repeat after me. Indeed I is. Indeed I is. Yes, lovely. You're doing that with joy in your hearts, aren't you? You're shirking off your inhibitions here. You're embracing your rambunctious selves. You're becoming honorary Newfoundlanders. Indeed I is. Indeed I is. Yes, lovely. When I say me old cock, I'm saying exactly what you think I'm saying. Don't stand there and think, like, oh, I wonder did she say that? She did. You see, here in Newfoundland and Labrador, many people use the term me old cock as a term of endearment. I don't, but many people do. So, me old cock! Yes, had no trouble with that. All right, we'll run it together. Indeed I is, me old cock! Indeed I is, me old cock! Oh my God, you're scholars. Long may your big jib draw simply means may your sails be billowing. May you have a good voyage. May you have a safe trip. Long may your big jib draw. If it can get draw in the back of your throat is always better. It takes you over draw, that sort of thing. Long may your big jib draw. Long may your big jib draw. Yes, all right, now we're going to run it together. Don't panic. At this juncture, many people substitute the word old for long and big. Oh God, how witty you are. The other group didn't get that at all. You're only mimicking. Indeed I is, me old cock, and long may your big jib draw. Indeed I is, me old cock, and long may your big jib draw. God, you're marvelous. All right, now tuck that away, but don't put it too far. We'll need to draw on that very soon. The very first thing is the bologna. Now, many people call this, come darling, many people call this a Newfoundland steak. I'm fond of prime rib myself. It's only chicken lips and arseholes, and everyone must have a piece. Go ahead, darling. Faster is better. Yeah. Vegetarian, it doesn't matter. There's no meat in it. Yeah. Eat it. Oh, yes, eat it, honey. It's not an ornament. Yeah, eat it. That's the nicest thing you ever put in your mouth. You may find later on you have a touch of a heartburn. You think that's the Screech, but no. That's the bologna. That bologna knocked down a buffalo with a heartburn. We usually have it in the morning, fried up with a little bit of mustard. Because mustard tempers the heartburn. Did you know? Oh, yes. If, for an example, later on you think a hot dog might be sensible out in those vendors, it's not always. A little bit of mustard hides a multitude of sins. Did everyone have the bologna? Giddy up. The very next thing is they would kiss the cod goodbye to ensure the safe journey of the rum. And I know you're standing there and you're hoping that I have a cod, aren't you? Just for the whole authenticity of it all. And indeed I do. This one hasn't seen water in a long time. Now when you've been in Newfoundland for as long as I've been, you get to know your own cod. We know right off at the bat this is a mainland cod. You'll know yourself too. As you get up close, you'll see right along here that it's gutless. That's a dead giveaway. So here's what's going to happen. You'll come through a line here. You'll kiss the cod goodbye. You'll take the Screech. Where's my Screech, girls? God love you. Thank you. Make way. Part the seat. You'll take the Screech from the girls. You'll move on, but you won't drink the Screech until I tell you you can drink the Screech. Does everyone understand? Yes. Or will you come to me after and say, I didn't hear that the first 3 times, Ruby, can I have another? All right, giddy up. You, Johnny. Giddy up. Me? You. I will tell you, the more hesitant you are, the worse I am. Well done. Here we go. It's not a gallery. Clickety clack. Up we go. Well done. Very intimate. Nice how you closed your eyes. Okay, moving on. Moving on. Giddy up. That'll be a screensaver. Well done. Well done. Did you kiss? Did you? Where's the Screech?
What a great picture.
Giddy up. Well done. Lovely. Some people do anything for a drink. Giddy up. Well done, girl. Oh, she kissed. Okay.
So that's a wrap from St. John's. As I walk by this interesting mural that depicts the history of St. John's and its place in Newfoundland. So it's farewell to St. John's. My mission here is accomplished. I got the hat, so the beatings will continue until morale improves. There's a whole story about that on the vlog, and I'll put a link to that in the show notes. Susan and I got the painting we were after, so that's another mission accomplished. And that's a wrap for St. John's. Coming up on Life on Two Wheels are a couple of episodes. I know there haven't been many episodes lately. It's not like I haven't been doing anything, I've just been tied up with other stuff. So there's one episode coming up that I am tentatively calling 5-0 and the 6. And then there's going to be Parts Are Fun. I'm not sure which of those is going to come out first. The 5-0 and the 6 is a little bit controversial, so I might take some heat for that. So that's it. Bye for now from St. John's, Newfoundland. As always, click to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe and click on the link that'll take you to the blog where you can find the gear guide, the touring guide, and so much more.
Is this your first time in Newfoundland? I'm determined to be a size.